All right, good evening, Hobby World. Welcome to episode 4 of Hobby Roundtable. We're here, a panel of YouTubers, content creators, hobby enthusiasts, collectors, and what I would consider friends, coming together once a month to talk about the hobby we love. I am Herman at 3B Collections. Joining me tonight is Uncle Rich from Saber Geek, Steph at Junk Wax Twins,
Oh, hi.
John, Sports Card Natty 1, Bo at 1 Million Cubs, and somebody else is trying to get in. Who is it? Dan at Korean Cardboard. How y'all guys doing today?
Pretty
Good.
good.
I've been hobbying all afternoon,
I wish I could say that.
so it was a wonderful day. Well, all morning.
I
I went to our tourist study in the morning. Then I went for a walk, grabbed lunch, dropped some stuff off at my office, and there was a card show. I don't want to say across the street from my office. It's one exit north on Central, so it was about 5 to 10 minutes from my office.
okay.
If that much. And so I spent the afternoon buying cards from a vendor I buy a lot of stuff from. And I just now finished, before we went on the air, putting plastic sleeves on all the stuff I had purchased today.
What are you buying?
These cards were anywhere from $0.05 to $5.
Okay.
And it was all baseball. All I chose to go through, all I wanted to go through was baseball. And I picked up some interesting stuff, and every price point is different depending on. I buy differently depending on the price point, so it was just baseball.
Cool. Well, so I wanted to welcome John. This is his first time with us. So glad you can join us.
I know I'm a hobby roundtable virgin. Well, not anymore, but I was.
Don't tell your wife; she'll think you're cheating on her.
Yeah. Well, you see, it's like prime time, so now I can I'm not gonna, but I could swear potentially, and say things like I just did.
Put it on.
Yeah, well, I mean, we make this a little more laid back. I mean, it's not scripted by no means. There's no notes, no agenda. I mean, we'll throw a few things out there, and other than that, we just kind of talk about what comes up and show what we got in the past month, which apparently Bo has gotten like a few thousand cards.
Yeah, I Bo's on my list to have on the show, but I'll ask him a question. Like I would ask him, like if he was on the show, and obviously other people will hear it then. That like when you hit 1 million, like what do you do then? Does it become 2 million Cubs?
I heard the answer to this question this morning.
No, it's not going to be 2 million, but I'm going to organize. It's going to be really difficult to organize and sort 1 million cards. I should realistically be doing that as I attain them, but I don't. I just stuff them in a box and put on the shelves behind me. But I'm going to get them organized and sorted by players and put team sets together. I'll still collect Cubs cards that I need. I still need a lot of pre-war stuff, obviously. And then current products I'll still collect, but I won't be picking up 58,000 cards out of the trunk of a car in a parking lot like I did last night.
So do you inventory them? Bo? Like, do you know how many I have? 63 of this card. I have 2 of this card. I'm missing this. I don't have any of this. I need this. Do you get that specific or no?
Not at all. That's the plan. That's, once I hit 1 million, that's when I'm going to kind of drill down and get that, sorted, because I'd love to know how many 1989 Topps Les Lancasters I have. I know I have roughly 1,300 1978 Topps Rick Russell cards because I bought 1,200 on a Facebook Marketplace buy. So, I have a rough idea on some cards, but then, some of the junk wax era stuff, there's, hundreds upon hundreds of the same cards. So eventually I'll get around to sorting them all.
That's a 10-year plan.
Yeah. It's going to be a chore.
He has a picture. He has a picture with all his Don Zimmer cards, so he knows how many of those he has.
And you got it down to the card. Like, what if one stuck together to another one? Your count could be off. This could be like
I know.
election results. You might have to have a recount.
You know, that's happened. Sometimes I get cards in penny sleeves, and I don't even realize on like the first count that, yeah, especially when it's Ginter minis, you know, there's 2 or 3 of them in the same penny sleeve. So yeah, you're right. The count could be significantly off.
So I got a question now, and this, I think I asked this before, but I can't remember. If you get a team set like the one you got, the Red Lobster,
Yeah.
is that a Cub card, or is that 12 Cub cards?
That's separate. So even though it's still sealed, and I'll leave it sealed, the sealed sets, as long as it's a Cubs team set, I count that as how many Cubs cards are actually within that set. But if it's like a complete, so I have some complete set, you know, factory sets. I don't even count those because they're not part of my Cubs collection. So those don't count. But you know, if I break open a factory set, and then once I pull those cards, you know, obviously then I'll count them. But if it's a sealed, you know, team set, then I'll count how many cards. You know, if there's 25 cards in that particular team set, then that goes to 25, not just a single one.
Right. Okay.
I had a question as far as your Cubs cards. Do you remember or recall getting, and I don't remember, maybe Sandberg, maybe Dawson, maybe Trace, did any of those guys or Cubs players have any starter sets or Broder cards?
Yeah, actually several, especially surprisingly some like guys that a couple didn't make it to the big leagues, like Earl Cunningham and Ty Griffin. Ty Griffin has a ton because he was a first-round pick in '88. He was a big name because he was on Team USA in 1988. He has that traded card, and then he was a first-round pick by the Cubs in '88. So he's got an '89 #1 draft pick card. So he was like a top prospect right at the peak of Broder popularity when, you know, there were just everybody had a Broder card. So there's some guys like that. Jerome Walton and Dwight Smith, you know, they were 1 and 2 in the Rookie of the Year race in '89. So that's right at the peak of Broder. So they have a lot of the unlicensed stuff. And then, you know, Sandberg, there's just, you know, a ton of Sandberg, a ton of Dawson. Mark Grace has a bunch. So yeah, there's a lot of guys that have those unlicensed cards.
And you would count those?
I do, yeah. Yep, I count as long as they're in a Cubs uniform. I do count the Team USA Ty Griffin, and then it gets gray. Like some of those, I count. Like I don't go out of my way to collect in bulk on some of those because it is kind of a gray. But usually it's just Cubs uniform. Minor league cards count, unlicensed cards count, and all that. And then when it gets to Team USA, then it's kind of up in the air.
Okay, well, if there's a card of a person, and we can flip it either way. They're wearing a Cubs uniform, but they're traded, and the card says Cardinals.
Okay,
but they're wearing the Cubs uniform. Do you consider that a Cubs card?
I do, and I actually go both. I'll go both ways on that. So
you answered the follow-up question.
Yeah. So 89 Topps Kevin Kaufman is in a Braves. I think he's in a Braves uniform, but it says traded to Cubs. So I will count that. And then if I think Davey Lopes, I think he's in another uniform.
But we can use
Jody Davis.
Well, how about an OPG card? OPG tends to work.
Yeah.
So
if it says traded to Cubs, I'll count it. If they're in a Cubs uniform and it says traded to Braves, I'll count it.
Okay.
So I guess that might be cheating, but you know, it's got to fall in a team set somewhere. So half the time I'm along the lines, and half the times maybe I'm crossing the lines.
Just so you know, I'm sure Stefan had done that too, but I do that at ComC. If I see that they're wearing a Cubs uniform, but it's an OPG card that may say now with or traded to or free agent signed by, I will put them with both teams.
Sure.
Because the Cubs collector might want it, and the A's collector, like in the Davey Lopes case, might want it. So let's try to increase the universe of people, not just the people from one team or the other, but both teams, and obviously any set collectors that want to buy that card.
Absolutely.
So this just turned into the grill Bo session here.
Right. Okay. Next, Ken's with us. Let's grill Ken.
Yeah, but wait a second. How can we grill Ken? He's the master.
Ken-
He's the
I was gonna
master
say
of the grill. You don't grill
Ken-
the master
Ken-
of the grill.
Grilling. So that you know.
I'm just hearing a lot of stuff. I heard grilling like 7 times and just rah, 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 rah. So I don't know what's up. What I do
Well,
wrong this time, guys? Who'd
You
I
haven't,
piss
done
off
anything,
today?
you haven't done anything wrong other than maybe the choice of which college you support in West Virginia.
Well, I mean, when you're fashionably late, you do that to draw attention to yourself. So that's kind of what you did.
At least it was
With my-
fashionable.
With my mouth, I don't really have to do anything else to draw attention to myself. Let's just call it what it is.
So, all right.
Yeah, sorry, we had to go to Lowe's to pick up some stuff, and I had to track the car again because my wife had. I've done a lot of on the car lately, so just one of those things, so that I can enjoy Father's Day tomorrow. Tomorrow's my day off.
I too went to a place that looks like Lowe's, the Ranger Stadium.
How was the game?
I don't
I
think
don't
it was the
understand
same.
that reference, Stefan.
The stadium looks like the side of a Lowe's. It's all metal and there's nothing. I don't like it. Bring back the ballpark and
Was that your first time there, Steph? Today?
Third, I think. So I caught the
Steph,
Joe
you want to tell
Musgrove
everybody what
no-hitter.
happened the first time you and Ange went to a game there?
Joe Musgrove no-hitter. A rando game, and then today. Yeah.
I'm doing a podcast, honey. I'm doing a live webcast.
Hi,
We got
Richard
more
Bly.
boxes. Hey, Rich, we got boxes open. Ever sit down. I feel like I'm on like the Brady Bunch opening.
Yeah.
Who was in the middle? Wasn't that Alice?
It was
I'm
Alice.
like-
It was Anne B. Davis, who, God rest her soul, lived until she was well into her 90s. And,
Well, I
and
guess
ended up-
I'm the Alice of this program, apparently.
So you're going to cook for us on the grill. So
Yeah.
you're going to be the griller tonight.
It's not going to be as good as Ken's, but it won't be too bad. It'll be edible.
Yeah, and then the other thing you'll provide us all is the hot tub to soak in after the show.
Yeah, I love that thing. Now I know what I'm doing when we're.
Honestly, be honest with you, I was halfway expecting you to be in it when you came
Yeah,
on.
no, I wouldn't. I think I'm done doing. So-
By the way, we're picking on John a little, but those were 2 very nice episodes you and your family did with Dr. Jim this week.
Those were, I tell you what, that was a lot of fun. And, Rich, that was the first, like me and Jordan have done a podcast. I had my dad on the show to talk about going to Ebbets Field and the Brooklyn experience, but that's the first time all 3 of us were on at the same time. And as you can see, Dr. Jim had to do two episodes to get all that stuff, because you get 3 guys from New York City. Well, my son's not from New York, but 2 guys from New York City and a grandson of 2 guys, a guy from New York City.
Yep.
A lot of people want to talk, so he had to make that a part A and a part B. So
I'll be honest, I haven't heard it yet, but it's on my list to listen to. So
yeah, it's funny. It's funny, and I tell you what, my dad. If you hear my dad, it makes his day. That stuff makes his day. If he was technology savvy, he'd probably be doing podcasting, because he just loves to share his memories of growing up and baseball and former players and just life in Brooklyn. And so when if you got to listen to it, and the end of part 2 was funny with my dad. Dr. Jim's like, I don't know if I'm going to do this every year. My dad's like, you're booking us. We're good for next year, right?
Well, yeah, you guys from New York are the best of fun. I was the Ed McMahon or the Bob Uecker. He did we taped a couple episodes with the Brogy family this week. One's run and one's going to run as we get closer to the National, since they're all help run the National.
Yeah.
And I got a Facebook message from one of the Brogy kids who actually instigated all that, because he had Facebook messaged me about how much he enjoys when we talk about the old days. And he says, I never get to talk. And mind you, he's been in the hobby now for 40 years, basically his whole life. You know, he's 50. He's 52 now, but his dad started when he was like 8 years old. And he goes, I never get to talk about the old days. It is so much fun to talk about them. And it was like living history. And that's something we're fortunate today. We are living the history where the previous generations really didn't get to save much of what we know of today of the hobby. We've been able to save stuff we never knew we'd save before. So that's not just the cards, but the memories, the chats, and all that. That's a blessing.
Yeah, John. The episode that your daddy was on, that you interviewed your daddy, what number was that? I listened to.
I'm gonna guess this is without looking at anything in front. I think it was 78. It's in the 70s.
Okay,
78.
I heard it when it came out, but I loved hearing him talking about the.
I made him cry, which I did my Barbara Walters. I got him to cry, which I knew there was an outside chance of that. He's a very emotional guy. I wasn't sure it was going to happen. I didn't really, all joking aside, I wasn't really trying to get that. It's just like he grew up in that era, and even doing the show with Dr. Beckett. I mean, when we were done wrapping that up, he was like just floating. Like he was literally just in cloud nine, and that was great. And he was a great guy. And like I made, it made his day. And for a guy, he's 83 now. As a son, I love to see it. And he's a happy guy. I don't want to make it sound like, he went into a deep depression like soon after that, but he went to like another level of happiness. And I think that's great. And like he says, that's all I have is those memories. Back then, he said to Dr. Beckett, I wish I knew about those cards then, what they would turn out to be. I wouldn't have put them in my bike spokes and threw them down the hallway and all that stuff. So,
yep.
So all he has is the memories.
And memories are important too. So there's nothing wrong with memories. And memories are very important. I got a Facebook message on Friday, and it was a sad one where one of my old friends from New Jersey who moved to Minot, North Dakota about 1989 passed away 2 weeks ago. And his daughter says, you may have heard by now. No, I hadn't, but she sent me a copy of the obit. It actually triggered what's going to be my second GTS column in July. How, he wasn't an important hobby personage, but his stuff, he helped in his own way push the hobby forward. We all helped push the hobby forward too. Some more active than others, some more public than others, some by going on a quest for 1 million Cubs, some on working on their twins collections, and some even overseas, like our friend in Korea, and some by grilling, like Ken and John.
Well, I'm going to give Ken that belt. Like my son tells me, Dad, I got the grill today, so I think there's a message in there. So, but he says I overcook meat. So, but he likes his stuff like still alive. So I guess that's the difference.
That's about where I'm at. Not necessarily still alive, but just barely kicking.
Yeah.
You muted, Ken.
And let alone Minot, North Dakota, literally in the middle of nowhere. It's been several times voted the worst place to get stationed in the military.
And this guy got stationed there and loved it so much he went there when he was basically 40 years old to spend the rest of brought his family to spend the rest of his life there. And they ended up doing very well there as a family. It really fixed any family issues. They all matured. He's got 9 grandkids. So for him, going to Minot, North Dakota, worked on that level. But the famous line he always used to say is, Minot, North Dakota may not be the end of the world, but you can see it from there.
Well, and it's not wrong. I mean, they have a nice golf course that I went to, and they got a really nice Scandinavian heritage museum, but that's about it.
So what's going? So
that's enough.
Is my grilling and smoking ability being questioned? Is that what I'm missing?
No, it's not.
No, we're
not laugh.
bragging on how good you are, Ken.
Yeah, he was bragging
Oh.
on how good you were.
Oh, okay. All right, just make it.
I'm sorry, you can't rant at us for telling us how. Unless you want to rant, do one of your famous rants because we're all praising you.
And me and Bo were trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Just you learn as you go along, and let's just be honest. It's kind of hard to mess up a lot of things. If you mess it up, you're really screwed up. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, just go online and find instructions from someone, just as far as time, temperature, and whatnot, and usually you'll be fine.
That's it.
Well, 2 times ago, my brother-in-law, who's a pretty good griller, screwed up the steaks. Not because he cooked them wrong; he cooked them perfectly, but he put so much garlic salt on them that I actually asked, "Do you want some steak to go with the garlic salt?"
Salt.
I'd like some butter there to finish them off, though.
Yep. Salt and pepper. That's all you need.
Yeah, and you really don't even need pepper; just a little bit of salt.
I mean, I like salt and pepper. Like I said, salt and pepper usually, and just finish it off with some garlic butter for the last couple of minutes on the grill.
Well, it must be a cloudy or rainy day in Korea because George is with us.
Whoa!
It must not be a pretty day.
What's up?
Or it's still early yet.
Might be
How's the weather? Nelson.
It's a really nice day. However, I just woke up 20 minutes ago. I slept in like really late today, which is uncommon. And I'm like, okay, I'll do a load of laundry. So I threw some laundry in the washer, and I'll do this for a bit, and then I'll go out later in the afternoon. So that's kind of the plan.
And what's your temperature today there?
I think, well, let's see. Right now, it's 9:20 in the morning. It's 73.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's bike riding weather.
Yeah, so 73 and at 9:20 in the morning. So yeah, definitely nice weather today. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie, the mountain kicked my ass yesterday. And I slept in.
I saw that. So how long was that hike?
So the hike itself was about 4.5 hours of actual hiking.
Mm-hmm.
Total time was about 6 hours because there were breaks and lunch and breakfast and all of that mixed in there. But the hike itself was only about 4.5 hours. But the slope, like the gradient, was about 40% all the way. So you're talking about like this for like, going up this for about 3 hours. It took about 3 hours to get up. Well, roughly 3 hours to get up and about, 2 hours or so to come back down. So it was pretty rough, but it was nice. I enjoyed it. I'm in pain today though. So, but
yeah, that trip down's a whole lot easier.
What's that?
The trip down's a whole lot easier.
Well, actually, yesterday it wasn't, because it was basically, I went down, it was pretty much like just a rock slide. So basically it was just jagged moss-covered rocks the entire way down. So it was pretty rough. It was kind of dangerous, like. I don't, like, I've got, like, there's the trail down. You can't really tell too well from this, but it's just basically a bunch of big jagged rocks all the way down.
That's a rock pile.
Yeah, exactly. It's just rock piles, just basically. It's almost like washouts going down through the valley. So it was pretty rough, but like I said, fun.
Yeah.
So I see Ken sorting cards.
Yeah.
Like
Opening mail.
Oh, nice.
Did you say Bowman? You were opening Bowman Mega Box, Ken?
Bowman.
Oh, there's a Bowman for you, Ken, right there.
Well, I don't have another beer. I just finished that one. Sorry, I can't do another shot.
That thing was screaming as you downed it.
So yeah, I'm gonna open these. I decided I'm just gonna do it. I really don't. I don't have that much interest in Bowman, but I mean, watching you and ripping one handed and it made me want to open it. Yeah, offbeat. That was it. So I'm going to open them. I'm going to do a video and just open them up one day this week. So
Do it.
My rips have been brutal, but I'm having fun. So that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Yeah, there's Bowman.
Hey, that's
Are we gonna do the what's the
beans.
best thing
Nice card.
Are we gonna do the best thing you've gotten since the last show thing tonight?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, good, because I didn't think this one would be here yet, but this is definitely the best one that I just opened.
Okay, I got it.
I'm
Winning.
So Shet want to know if anybody's excited for Stadium Club next week. I am. I can't wait.
100%.
I can't wait to see it. I've got
Second favorite
Or-
release of the year.
I've got 4 boxes on the way. 2 of them I'm going to break, and 2 of them I'm going to open for myself.
Are they Bowman mega boxes?
this Bowman Stadium Club?
Oh, it doesn't work if Bo's not there to actually hear that.
No.
Guys, I'm having a lot of issues with like people, so I'm gonna restart my computer. I'll be back. Don't miss me too much.
All right.
All right. So yeah. So what are we up to this morning? Anyway,
I was just I worked my morning this morning and worked about 6 hours and then had to go to a baby shower. Got here about an hour and a half before we got on, so I kind of needed a nap, but I didn't get it.
Well, that's okay.
Right.
I got mine.
Herman, next week I get to go to a gender reveal party for the first time ever.
Oh, really?
Is it your own?
I'm going to shut off the power to your area again.
Hey, guess which one you got a 50% chance of getting this thing right.
Hey, I mean, it is what it is now. What are we looking at?
that's my desk right now. That's what I'm working with right now.
Dude,
So it's an absolute mess. I'm just sitting here. I'm trying to find a place to put my coffee and myself. I've got an absolute freaking mess here. I don't know where anything's at.
I don't know. Since we're talking about the best thing we've picked up since the last show, I'll bring this up.
I like that thing.
Yeah.
Show it again.
I see you've worn it.
Well, yeah, I've got enough shirts, so I didn't take it out yet. But it's definitely the best thing I've picked up since the last time we were all on.
Hey, I've worn mine.
And I just ordered a bunch of new ones with the new logo for National Times. So
Is that with the red, white, and blue on it?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
To
I
the
don't
same
know.
address, if you have a double X, I totally wear one.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I know I have. I ordered, I think, medium to 2X. So
Good. Well, I'm a 2X, so we'll leave
Yeah,
it.
there's a lot of 2X's in here.
yeah, me too. I'm just trying to stay at 2X. That's what
I
I'm
used to
trying
be
I
like a
graduated
2X.
to 2X thanks to COVID.
Because he said his polo shrunk.
Uh-huh.
I'm actually I'm down to about a large now, so I'm just dropping.
See, my wife tells me that I'm not a 2X anymore because I lost 45 pounds last year, but I still order 2X, or I still buy 2X shirts. But my thing is not the weight; it's the length of the shirt.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
If I get an extra large shirt and I reach for something on the shelf, my shirt's up to here.
Right.
And I'm the opposite. I have a 2XL.
Well, you
and it-
could work in worst case, you could get a job at Hooters.
Yeah.
And that's a shirt.
Right. Yeah. For me, for me, what it generally is, it's generally the shoulder area.
Yep.
So basically, like an XL will be super huge in the stomach area and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I start dropping down like, too low, the shoulders and the sleeves end up coming up to here.
Oh, muscle!
Right?
You got a muscle shirt going.
Yeah, you're right.
That's when people tell him he's dressing in his sister's closet.
Right.
By the way, across from the original Hooters, we had somebody who lived near where it was. So it was on a catty corner. Well, one of the other places was called Whoppers, and one of the other places was called Knockers. In other words,
Well,
I mean,
What'd they sell?
food. They were all food places.
we've got a Hooters here, and this has been a while back. That it's in Augusta, Georgia. Most people know where that's at. We went in there and ate one time, and I swear I told the person that was with me, I said they need to change the name of this place from Hooters to Cheeks, because that's all that was in there. Was Cheeks
I will tell you,
hanging out everywhere.
I've been to, and I say this seriously, I've probably been to maybe only 2 or 3 or 4 times in my life I've been to Hooters. I do not like the food there. I mean, it is some of the most.
No, they're not known, Rich. I hate to break this to you now. It's kind of
That's
known.
what I want to eat.
They're not known for their food. Like this, don't read the food reviews. You're going to be disappointed. And my work,
those bad reviews, and we'll leave it at that.
my work here is done. I got Rich to say not only Hooters but Knockers. So I think I'll see you guys later. I got to bone it. Like it was just I wanted to get them to say Hooters. Not only did we get that, we got Knockers.
I get you good. Not only that, but I got 2 more similar restaurants in.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of Kitchen Nightmares recently. So you're talking about restaurants and restaurant reviews. That that came out when I was in Korea, so I never watched it. So I'm watching it on YouTube now. Like Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay. It's pretty funny stuff. And actually kind of disgusting at times. So makes you think about the restaurants,
No Hooters in Korea yet?
So there was a Hooters in Korea. It's closed now, I believe. It was here for a very short period of time. And flatters. Oh, sorry. Well, that's in a private chat, but someone said flatters in Korea. So, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they don't have the biggest of the breast lines. But it's not that. It's just that. I don't really know. I think they're too conservative for a Hooters, but not too conservative for a Hooters, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
They will straight up, you'll see them practically with their panties out walking down the street, but they won't show any chest area. That's a big no-no. We'll show the bottom, but we won't show the top.
It's been that way for a long time.
What'd you say, Dad?
Yeah, that's what Korea's known for as far as the dressing.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll show the bottom, they won't show the top. So, I think it's kind of, I don't know, and that's just the way it is. So I'm fine with it. Whatever.
Since we're on the topic of showing stuff, did anybody else have anything they want to show from what they picked up in the past few weeks? Or?
I got one for you.
All right.
So I know I missed the previous show, and I would have shown this then, but I figured I'd show it here. Okay, right direction. Check that out.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's the Ted. Yeah.
Teddy ball game, bat jersey, numbered to 50, and final bid. So I put in my final bid for 52.10, and it sold at 46 solid.
Nice.
So
That's
52.10 for his 521 home runs.
Oh,
This This is no Teddy ball game, but I did pick up this Carlos Lee White Sox triple relic auto.
Nice.
Nice.
I like that absolute line.
Yeah. No, this is a great set. So this has got the cap, the jersey, and the bat, and the obviously the auto, and this was around $14 on eBay.
I got a lot of stuff in recently because I got like a package from Ken and everything. So, but it's hard to say what's my favorite thing out of what I got. Like the thing, I don't know. Trying to look.
Oh,
like
that
I've
was
got
an
it all piled up here. So probably this. I love this card, the Albert Pujols Fleer Tradition, like rookie card.
2001,
So-
2002.
2001, yeah. 2001 Fleer Tradition. So that's kind of like I don't know, that's the card that I think I was looking most forward to that was in that box that Ken sent me. So that one right there.
Those always remind me of the Topps Big. Remember the Topps Bigs?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love Topps Big, man. They're
I
great.
hated Topps Big.
Like I used to love it. You stick it in the binder page and like the top of it's hanging out and everything and like bending up and so what's going on, Brad?
There are
Jackpot.
aliens. There is life on other planets. We have official confirmation.
Hold on.
He's somewhere that's interesting.
I don't
He's in a
know.
casino somewhere.
Well, he just jumped in and out. Okay. Well, since-
And replacing with Ken, that's a good trade.
well, I guess since y'all pulled out the big guns right off the rip, I'm gonna have to go with the one that actually just came for me today. Was let's see, so 2000. It's 2018 Topps now, numbered to 99. Let's see. I can't do both at the same time.
Woo! There you go.
Ooh, very
That's
pretty.
good, guys.
He's got a nice autograph.
What's that number 77 doing on the card?
Yeah.
You know, Herman, like talking about Freddie Freeman, back in, I don't know, it must have been it was probably around 2016 at a Mississippi Braves game. I could have bought one of his game-worn autographed jerseys. I could have gotten it for probably about $150. They were auctioning them for charity, and I think it sold for like $150. Game-worn, official Freddie Freeman autographed jersey.
This was when?
I think it was around 2016.
Okay, well, I'll forgive you because we didn't really know each other then. So
Yeah, we didn't know each other then. Now, I mean, well, if I went to a Mississippi Braves game now and they were doing it again, I would bid on one. But then I was at home for vacation, and I went and they were doing like an auction. They had them all out and everything. They had.
I said that I wasn't gonna buy. I wasn't gonna buy an autograph, like an autograph card of his. If I got an autograph, I wanted it like an in-person autograph.
Right.
But that one went so cheap. I mean, I got that card for like $24.
Right. Yep.
It-
Yep.
I don't know if it's just the way the guy listed it. It didn't get many views or what. It was on auction, kind of like Steph. I put in, I think, $40 bid, and it ended at like 25 or some change.
Right.
So,
That's awesome. Yeah, I think. The funny thing was because they were auctioning like MLB jerseys, and they were auctioning like the AA player jerseys, and they were going for more than the MLB players, which I thought was funny. So I thought that was pretty funny that night. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense since that is the team, that is the local team, right? And that's who they follow. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense that they're like spending more money on the people they know. versus the people they don't know, like Freddie Freeman.
Right.
Even though he had played there some in the past, but he was a forgotten relic at that time, I guess. So anyway.
Okay, I have a question. Now we have two people, and granted, you're both pretty intense collectors and you're sharp and you know what you're doing, but both of you have mentioned how you were pleasantly surprised by how low the prices were on eBay for the items you were interested in. Do you think those were just one-offs, or do you think that could be part of a larger trend of a market correction?
I think it was just a one-off in my case, because if you look at any of the rest of his autographs, they're up around $70 and higher, and a lot of those they're unnumbered, and this was to 99. So
Yeah.
I just like the listing was kind of weird on how he had it listed, so it was almost I just happened up on it.
So you're thinking it was a listing mishap more than any situation with a softening of the market.
Yeah, because like I said, you can look at any of the rest of his autographs on eBay, and there's none listed less than $60, $70.
And what about you, Steph?
Yes,
Steph is gone.
he is gone.
He gone.
He's gone the Good Burger, or what is it? What is it up there?
What a burger!
Burger. That's it.
Good burger.
How did they have it? Oh, he said phone died. How did they have it listed for you, Armin? They had it as Freddie Peeman or something like that.
It was no, they had the name right, but it was the way they tried to. I have to look it up. See if I'm gonna pull it up.
I'm a little disappointed. I'm not Alice anymore. I don't know who I am. Oh, there we go.
No, it was kind of listed like the alt where he put auto and then number to 99 was like all jammed together into one word.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't even come up under an auto search. It just came up under Freddie Freeman because
right.
but I don't know. It was just listed weird.
You probably type in like auto and that number together, and it probably brings up like a bunch of like electric hair trimmers or something like that.
And I've seen where people have said that like if there's like an alternate way of spelling the player's name, if you search for that on eBay, you'll find a bunch of listings that
leave out one of the E's. Leave out one of the E's.
Exactly, and I've done it, and there's a bunch of them on there, or one of the D's. I mean, Freddie drop a D, and it comes up with a bunch of.
Watch out with the drop in a D. That takes you to a whole nother part of eBay.
Yeah, go into that though. Listen, this has nothing to do with the hobby, but when the internet first started coming around, I'm talking about
when Al Gore invented it.
When Al Gore first released the internet, my sister had a computer at home. She was still in high school, and my mom and Anita got the internet for her. My sister was explaining to her how you could find anything on here that you wanted to. So she goes into
you don't want to find.
Okay, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting to. She gets into a search because my mom loves hummingbirds. She loves hummingbirds. So yeah, she gets on there and she searches hummingbirds, and she sees a bunch of stuff that she don't want, and I don't even want to describe it on here. But let's just say that she got it from the desk and ran across the house screaming. and it took her a long time to even touch the internet. She's like, I mean, hey, when we hit after hours, I'll tell you exactly what she saw, but I'm not describing it right now.
Well, when they put an email system where my cousin is a doctor and a very good one, somehow she sent something, and she didn't do it deliberately, but she took down the email and internet system at the hospital for 2 weeks.
Ooh.
And she was barred for 1 month and had to go through really serious training on how not to goof up the internet.
Yeah.
I mean,
by the way, there is no wrong way to spell Yastrzemski. Just to clear that up, too. There is
Well,
no wrong way.
and
It's just the right way, and then the whatever other way you want to do.
In 1998, when Mark McGuire was so hot, some of the cards were wrong, but also people did not know how to spell his name. You could do very well buying Mark McGuire cards by
McGuire.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm blaming Ryan McGuire on that, former Expo.
There's a former NASCAR and Indy 500 driver. He's actually the oldest living veteran of the Indy 500. His name's Paul Goldsmith. And if you like Paul Goldschmidt, you might want to also do a search for Paul Goldsmith, because there's usually at least 5 of them on there.
Yep, and nobody else can find them.
There you go, George.
Yeah.
Not relating to this, but speaking about racing and interesting people, we got a few things at ComCID this week from a 1980 Avalon Hill Indy racing game.
Nice.
All the people I did never had anything listed in the database before. So it was
those Avalon Hill games, what they do is they were released 79, 81, 83, 85, I think, and they were released for the year prior. And there are the 33 drivers that make the race. They have driver cards for them. I actually have the first set. But yeah, those are really cool. I mean, they're almost normal card size.
Yeah,
I knew about them for years. I finally just bought one a couple of months ago. I did show it off on my channel in a video. But yeah, there's a lot of guys that, I mean, really, that's the only thing they have, because IndyCars in general, IndyCar drivers, there's not been a lot of stuff for them, and a bulk of sets that there are from the junk wax era. Currently, there's not been a set since 2007. So anybody that wants to say we're in junk wax era 2.0, until I get a fucking IndyCar set, we're not in junk wax era 2.0.
I'll be back in a minute.
And now I will step off my soapbox.
You'll be timed, Rich.
You stay on your soapbox, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, those sets are really cool. I guess I'm going to head to ComC. I'll talk to you guys in a bit.
Go find something.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to kind of throw out there, and me and Ken had talked about this, and we almost did it on a Monday, but we decided it would be better to do with a few more people to kind of just knock it around. But is your hobby budget? Mm-hmm. You know, I know, like Bo does eBay, and John, you have your internet sales. But as far as your hobby budget, are y'all more self-sustaining, or do y'all budget from your family income so much a month or whatever? But how do y'all?
I mean, I want to say yes, just because working in the industry, it does pay me, but not in the way you meant. No, it's just based off paycheck.
Right.
Mostly retail. I kind of dabble outside of sports, but it's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sort of an anomaly in more ways than one, truthfully, but in this topic, and I'm actually doing it's funny you mentioned this, Herman, because I'm doing a hobby quick hits about this.
Okay.
But I've had a card account, a card business account, since 1987 as a 15-year-old.
Right.
When I did that first show and I cleared 4 figures, and my grandma said, "You can't walk around with that kind of money on you. You need to start an account." And so I started that business account after that first show. And, I talk about this on the show when I, asked my wife to marry me, my girlfriend to become my fiance and marry me. She knew about that account. She knew it was like I operated Newman Sports Cards out of that. And she asked me, like, "What are you doing with that account?" And I said, "Nothing. I'm keeping the account." Like
you said none yet.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So to answer your question, make a longer story a shorter story, is I don't use our joint account money. Not a penny. ever comes out of that to pay for any card stuff. And so it's all out of that. I've talked about in the past that I've bought collections out for more money that maybe wasn't in that account at the time, where I'll put it on a charge card. I know that that's sacrilegious to some, and I'll know, like, hey, I can buy this for 10,000 and I can probably sell it for, I'm gonna be honest with you, 40, 50,000. I have 8,000. Why wouldn't I not buy that deal? And so I'm sort of, I never tell people, don't pay your mortgage, don't put food on the table, don't do anything like that. That's very, whatever you want to call it, not cool to do, but not vigilant. But I have done that in the past, and especially early on before I built that account up to sort of where it is, now. But so no, what my wife, there's nothing to check in our joint account as far as I'm concerned. With me, there's nothing operates out of that. I have a separate account that all card transactions come from.
So you fall in the self-sustaining category then. Yep.
Yeah, it's different, and again, it's been since 15 years old, and I just and she understands. Like I don't want to make it sound like there's an issue there. She just initially asked me, like, I think she was trying to get half of it even early on. So now I have my son taste test things first, and if he's okay, I'll go ahead and drink it.
She wanted to know what was in there for her half later. That's what she wanted to know.
Maybe that's she's laying the groundwork. So
yeah, But Bo, I mean, I pretty much know that, like I said, everybody knows that you're the eBay king. So I mean, is that a stay on? Do you ever pull out of the family budget, or do you stay within?
Every once in a while. I mean, if I'm pretty much, it's all card account, and if I'm at Target, picking up, random things, and I buy a couple blasters, it comes out of my, my personal account. But for the most part, and I know eBay is a love-hate on eBay, especially when it comes to managed payments. Managed payments really, for me, helped me prioritize a card account much better, because with PayPal, I would have to transfer it, and I would just transfer it to my personal account, so it just kind of got lost in the shuffle. So I really didn't. And at that time, before COVID, I was more of a casual eBay seller. So it just kind of, all mixed together. But then when COVID hit and when the hobby exploded, and now it's like, oh crap, then, the whole managed payments thing worked out great. I opened up a separate account. So all my card money goes into that account. I use that for my card purchases and all that. So everything is, completely comes out of that. And, outside of the random, sometimes I'll go to the card shop to pick up supplies, and I'll just use my debit card or whatnot. But for the most part, everything comes out of that checking account through eBay, through the managed payments.
Right. That's kind of. I mean, I try to keep mine self-sustaining through what I sell on eBay, and of course what I do on breaks. And then, I had asked you about managed payments because you was on it way before I was. Before I was forced to go into it, and I went into it kicking and screaming. I didn't want to do it. I'll admit it. And you know what? I had 100 questions, and I didn't like it. But once I switched over, I love it.
Yeah, same here.
It's like you said, everything before that went into PayPal, and then if you wanted to take it out, it had to be transferred. And
you still have to wait 2-3 days for it to clear the bank. So, I mean,
Right.
if you want access, if you're, I guess if you're solely using PayPal, but sometimes if I want to buy a collection off of Craigslist, more times than not, it's not going to be a PayPal transaction. It's going to be cash only. So,
right.
So in that regard, you wait 2 or 3 days for PayPal to clear it in your account.
Yes, but
Yeah.
Bo, I mean, now when I get stuff in on PayPal, there's also the option. I mean, if I want to pay 1%, which is really not terrible, if I want that money in my bank account yesterday, I can put it right into my bank account immediately.
I'm cheap. I don't want to pay that 1%.
Okay, but the point is that
I'm looking
but
at.
if
I'm
you
looking.
know
I'm
you have a
watching
collection
every
coming, I'm just saying, if you know you have the collection coming, that may not be the worst thing in the world to do on a one-off to guarantee you have that money. So if the collection comes, you don't have to scramble for hoping that the money got into your account from PayPal. You've already got it.
It's not, but now I have a checking account that the money goes from eBay straight into my checking account, and I don't have to worry about that at all. So
Doesn't it take a few days? But and I say this in all seriousness, doesn't it take a few days for that money to get there?
typically, well, during the week, it's usually 24 hours. On a weekend, so like if something sells on a Thursday night, that's where I think you see a lot of the people complaining, because a Thursday night transaction won't be distributed into your account until probably Tuesday, because usually end of business day Thursday, that money will then go into your account on Monday. So like a Wednesday transaction wouldn't hit your account until likely Monday, the following Monday, and then anything from Thursday through Sunday would go in on Tuesday. But then anything after that, then it's like boom, boom. So
And you can-
there's a few days where it's pretty short term, but there
And
are
you can set that up any way you like.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, you can
like
do
I
daily
have
or
a
weekly.
yeah, I do it weekly. So I tell you what, I was a little nervous with eBay managed payments, and now doing it for I don't know how many months it's been, 4 or 5 months, maybe more. I like it. I like it. That week, it almost is like a paycheck. Like you get used to that weekly deposit. I get that notification. Obviously, if it's been a real good week, it's nice to see that number. And I was worried about it. I'm not gonna lie. I was worried how it was gonna work with the fees, and I've really had no complaints with that. It seems to go in the same day every week. I kind of know when to expect to see that notification, and it's just a matter of what that number is, after fees and the like. But before managed payments, as those fees, I know the fees are similar or the same. I'm you know what I mean. They're getting their clause in what they need to get. It just seems, I guess it hurts less when it's in one payment, in one bigger payment, than you see individual transactions, and you're just getting like pecked to death instead of just one big chunk.
Yeah, I will say that the one thing with the managed payments that kind of it's not a problem, but I would think that like when you do shipping, now maybe I'm doing something wrong, but the shipping, every time you do a shipping, that comes out all in one chunk at a later time. Am I right?
No, that all comes out. That all comes out. Well, the only time it comes out at a later time is the standard envelope doesn't come out of your account until it's marked delivered.
Okay.
So you may get, like, if you send a chunk like 10 or 20 standard envelopes out and say they deliver all on the same day, all of a sudden you're like, I just lost $10 out of my pending payments. And then you go in and there's a slew of 51-cent standard envelope.
Okay. So maybe that's what I was seeing then.
Yeah. So in like the bubble envelope, that comes out immediately, right away. Once you print the envelope, that subtracts whether you take it out of your managed payments account from your pending payments, or you can choose it to come out of PayPal. So that comes out immediately, but the standard envelope, there is a delay on that. And I think it's when it's marked delivered. That's what I've noticed, that I'll have just, a dozen 51-cent charges that are taken out.
Yeah. But going back to what you were saying earlier about the separate checking account, that was the one thing that I already had a separate checking account apart from what like our paychecks go into from prior businesses that are side jobs, whatever that I had. and that's kind of like what I used to transfer all my eBay stuff to. So, like I said, it was an easy transaction because I didn't have to go into the bank and open a separate account. I just basically started using that account. So, but yeah, it's a little nicer. But now I had gotten a PayPal the debit card.
Yeah. Yep.
That comes with the business account, and that was what I was using. Just say I was in Walmart and I saw blasters on the shelf and I wanted to pick some up. That I'd pull that PayPal debit card out, and that's what I pay for it with. But like I said, I try to stay out of the family income for anything hobby related. As long as things can keep up and I can get a little bit, because I don't buy a whole lot of boxes to open for myself. I'm usually one of those that I would rather find the card I want and buy it from the set versus open the whole box and have a whole bunch of cards that I don't want. So it's less of a gamble. I think Ken said he's not a gambler, so that's kind of like his motif. So motif, and that's kind of the same path that I follow. And because I'm only chasing, which everybody knows, like you're the Cubs. I want Braves cards. I want Freddie Freeman. I want Dale Murphy. And anything outside of that, I really don't keep. So.
Well, but one thing by not buying the boxes, just by focusing on your Braves cards or your 72 high numbers, is, as you said, you don't have to worry about, is it a good box or a bad box?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting exactly what you want. And there's something to be said about getting exactly what you want. There are those of us, I like opening the blaster boxes at Walmart when they're affordable. I mean, I had a blast last week. I got to open 2 Series 2 playoff contender draft picks and a Score Football hanger box. It was fun to open. Those are actually pretty good opens.
Now, I will be honest. If I could find a Series 2 hanger box, I would buy it and open it, because that's and I think everybody pretty much knows it. And that's why you can't find them. But that's where you're a better chance for short prints, parallels. That's the number. The odds for those are a lot better on hangers for some reason. So.
Yeah, but I was just saying that it's good to have that discipline to only buy things that, in a sense, you really want.
Yeah.
And you don't go off on the gamble. And I think that's one of the things we're talking about is many people in the hobby have that gambling aspect where they open up because they're looking for whatever big hit can come out of the box without realizing.
Well, I mean, I ran up. I've said this on my shows. I ran up a 5-digit credit card bill on open wax, and finally that light bulb came on years ago. Like, hey, you gotta knock this off, man. Like, it's fun. I think we all can agree. Opening a pack is probably some of the most funnest thing you can do in the hobby. No one will argue that or debate it, really. But at the end of the day, when the dust clears and you see what you paid and what you have for what you paid, I learned, like, I'm better off just buying what I want to buy, buying collections, buying other people's who've opened too much wax and they need to replenish their account before the wife finds out because they don't have a separate account. I rather buy those, scenarios and losses. And so I pivoted and that is gone, but I learned the hard way, but I learned a good lesson, and I'm smarter today for it.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ken.
I was just going to say I agree totally. I mean, I did it for a while. I was a gambler, and then just one day it finally hit me. There was one day I went into Ball Card Exchange in Indianapolis and sat there throughout the day, and at the end of the day, when it came time to tally up my bill, I had opened 8 boxes of cards and gotten almost nothing out of them. And that was kind of when the light came on, and I still bought some, but now it's to the point where I don't. I'm trying to downsize Well, one of the good ways to do that is to actually buy the cards you want. And I said something about I got a card today that would be my best one. So this is what it is. I'm sure he's going to pull it up. So another Dale Earnhardt autograph.
Nice.
You know what I paid for this?
20.
3 blasters. 3 retail blasters I could have had and gotten a whole bunch of horse shit that I care nothing about and can't get a damn thing out of, or I could have this.
Now, I will admit, I said I don't open a whole lot for myself. I will admit I did open 3 of the retail box of the 2021 Heritage because I got starry-eyed when I saw the 72 design. I wanted to open it, and of course, I was going to build the set, so I did open 3 retail boxes. At least I didn't fall into the hobby box trap and go that route.
Well, honestly, I did. Heritage is the one product I will break my cardinal rule on, and almost no matter what, unless the price point is too ridiculous, I will buy a hobby box of Heritage each year.
Mm-hmm.
If I can afford it. I mean, there were a couple years I never got to buy any, 2017 and 2018, when both years the box price exploded upon contact to $140. And this was pre-boom. And 2017, it was just a shorter print. And in 2018 was because of the shortage of whatever Ohtani card they put in. So both of those exploded on contact. So I never did buy hobby of 2017 or 2018. I have a friend of mine, Mike Fruitman. Some of you knows he makes sure now that I get 1 hobby box each year at cost.
Good.
Because he wants to make sure that I get to open a Heritage. And those years that I'm talking about were the years I collected as a kid. Just like Herman was saying, this year was going to be because he loves 72. With the 72 design. So there are exceptions to every rule. I'll break it to do Heritage next year. If the box comes out 100 or less, I will go buy a Heritage hobby box. Okay, I will buy it. That's the one exception I will make to really going. And I know that I will probably pull a $4 jersey card out of it. Yeah, you get other stuff too.
Right.
But for the most part, you don't buy Heritage for the hits. You don't buy Topps 1 or Topps 2 or Update for the hits.
Yeah, the 72s, which I mean that's my birth year, but that was one of the things that when I first got into collecting and got to where I knew more about it, I always heard of people talking about how their parents put this set up their birth year and now they have it, and and I was always looking at the 72 set thinking, wow, I wish my mom and dad had done it for me. If they did, I'd have this now. And back in 2000, and I hate to admit it, but I actually started my 72 set back in 2007. And I'm still working on it, which now I did put it up and quit working on it for a few years. But, and I just recently, in the past 3 or 4 years, pulled it back out and tried to focus more on it and get it closer, which I'm down now to, I think, 33 cards. But I'm down to 33 high numbers, so there's that.
There was a guy when I was running shows, and every December my show would be I would let the people in for free for various reasons. It was like a thank you for supporting me all year. Here's my holiday present. You're coming in for free. And there was a father who came in with his son, and I would see him once a year, the year of the day, the free admission show. And he was still working on his 1970 set when I saw him in December of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was X amount of cards short, and it was a 50-year project for him at that point. Wow. He was going to collect that set slowly but surely until he's done. So there are people out there who do things like that. And then actually he started bringing his son to the shows, and it was kind of funny. And then he started coming to a few more shows, and I had a policy, charge the dad, but let the son in for free. Mm-hmm. And the son was the one actually spending all the money. but I wanted to make sure, and Bo and I think we've touched upon this, but I always did kids free, and I did significant others free. You know, if a guy brings his girlfriend or wife with him, every once in a while there's one that's that's interested. Like Angela, to her credit, always paid to get in the door. But there are others that really didn't care, so I would just say, "Come on in," and then you can always leave. I'm not going to charge you. You're just here to support your husband or boyfriend or significant other, so come on in. But I found that was a really good way to get stuff done. And as I said, the only way I would ever charge them if I was doing door prizes, I'll give you the option. You can pay for a door prize ticket, or you can come in for free.
Right. Yeah.
But there are people that work forever on those sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I've gotten to the point to where I feel like, I know that I'm going to have to pay for the high numbers. I'm this far into it. I'm not going to not finish the set. I'm just trying not to buy something stupid high just because it's my last one or two. And, it's like the Steve Garvey is one of the cards that I need. And you cannot find that card under $50.
Well, what you got to do, Herman, is kind of set like sort of a game plan. Hey, I'm going to buy whatever it is. I'm just talking off my head. Hey, I'm getting 2 every month. So at the end of this year, I'm going to have 24 to 33 off the list, and now I'm down to 9.
Yeah.
Or whatever. If you want to do 3, and then, hey, at the end of the year, I'm going to be done with the set. That's 36 cards. Whatever your budget.
Yeah, that was my goal for this year, was to finish the set by the end of the year. So,
but look at it, instead of a whole year thing, do it sort of like I need to get 3 off the list this month.
Mhm.
Then next month I got to get 3 more off the list, 3 more. If you do it like sort of by month, it won't seem as daunting. It's 3 this month, 3 next month. It'll put things in a little bit more of a perspective where it's obtainable. Sometimes when looking at 33 to 3 each month is a whole different perspective.
Yeah. And one of the best things that happened to me for that set was when I first started it, I was doing it primarily on eBay. Then when I found when I got on Twitter and found the hobby Twitter, I accumulated a few off of there. But one of the best things that's happened for me as far as picking up what I've had left is when I found out about a show in Spartanburg that was about an hour and 45 minutes away. The 2 times that I've been to that show, I think I've picked up 35 or 36 cards that I needed to finish just from that show alone. But at this point, the two guys that had the high numbers at that show, I've pretty much wiped them out. So now, going back the next time, I don't know if I'd find any. So,
there's so many platforms. You know this. There's no breaking news here. From ComC, SportLots, to eBay. I would just set so many a month that you need to knock off. If that's 3, and that takes that's 36 a year, you're down to 33. You can have a month where you only get 2, and you're still on pace to finish it up by the end of the year. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
Show that Roger is at.
What's that, Steph?
I said you need. There's a local. I don't want to say local-ish guy who tours most of the southern half of the states. That he's got a good bunch of 72, 71. It's just a lot of really nice vintage.
That's the one you was mentioning a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? When I was on.
Yes,
Leon?
yes.
Oh.
Yeah, Roger Neufeld's his name.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I've bought more my T206 cards off Roger than I have anyone else. But I was going to mention a couple things. You were talking. Can you hear me? Am I muted?
No, you're good.
Okay, sorry. I was looking at eBay. I wasn't sure if I was muted. So I'm actually working on a couple of vintage sets, and it actually kind of touches on a couple of things that have been said. So I'm working on and I can put air quotes, the 55 Topps All-American football set. But my starter lot that I bought off of Baseball Card Exchange or Indy Card Exchange in Indianapolis when I lived there. Well, I haven't lived there in almost 8 years, so that tells you how long I've been working on that set. I had initially had a lot of it when I was younger and then needed money and sold it off. But yeah, I mean, just sometimes, and in a case like that and kind of a case of the 72, I get it because all of the cards I need are relatively available. The only thing stopping me from having them is just putting the money into them, and you could say the same thing with 72. Mm-hmm. However, most of you probably know about 1911 American Tobacco Auto Driver set that I'm working on. It's a 25 card set, and I have the 25 card set, but I'm also working on the 100 card set because each front has 4 different back variations. So my goal is to obviously put that 100 card set together. Well, when you're talking about, hobby budgets and stuff, I have to take those when I can get those. What's holding me back from those is not necessarily the money. The thing that's holding me back from having that complete set is that stuff's just not available. So within reason, if I can afford it, within reason, if 5 of them come up at once, I got to go after all 5 of them. So, it's just a difference in collecting vintage sets because these are obviously a lot more scarce than a 1955 All-American Football or a 1972 Topps baseball. So those were just a couple of my thoughts on the vintage sets.
Well, Ken, you bring up an interesting point, and I don't know who's going to the next national or who's going to the next Dallas card show or the next big show wherever you are, or for Herman, whatever show he's able to get to. I know you said there was a show, it used to be 3 hours for Herman. I know he said there was a store opening about 20 minutes away from him, if I remember correctly.
Not even that. Like, it's 10 minutes to my hometown, and it's right on the square of my hometown.
Okay, so it's really close. But when you go to a big show, as Ken would say, Ken can walk around the show, the 55 All-American, unless it's something ridiculous like the 4 Horsemen for $10. Like, you've got to buy that card because if you don't buy it at that price, somebody else will buy it in 3 seconds. If it's something like that, you can actually let that marinate and go back to it and see if it's still there.
They stole my term.
What?
You owe me $5.
You can't say marinate.
But if Ken finds cards he needs from that 1911 Indy set and they're reasonably priced, you don't wait to buy those cards.
Exactly.
You buy them the minute you see them at the show. Because they are really tough. You do not hesitate on those at a national. And that's the thing. People say, well, be careful and shop around. But what sometimes they forget, rule B, if something's really good and you might not see it again, that's when you buy it immediately. You don't hesitate on certain
Well, the people that are saying shopping around are looking for Fernando Tatis rookies and Ronald Acuna rookies, which are at every damn table. Non-vintage table. Yeah, they're not looking for, like you said, the scarce things or a scarce autograph of somebody that, died a couple years into their career and they're trying to complete offs. Yeah, I agree totally.
I tell the story in the 88 National. I had this father and son come to me the second day of the show and basically buy out all my Hubie Brooks cards. But they were Hubie Brooks collectors. Or the son was a big Hubie Brooks collector, and I had a lot of oddball. They bought a bunch of stuff from me. They said, we walked around the first day of the show. You had more than anybody else. Yours were very well arranged. And they came back and spent the next day buying from me on those. But the point was, Hubie Brooks was not so popular where they were in any danger of running into a lot of competition in buying those cards. But in 88, if somebody had the best Don Mattingly table around or the best Darryl Strawberry table in Atlantic City or the best Mike Schmidt, you better believe you should have bought it immediately because somebody's going to come back and grab those cards before you do unless you grab them immediately.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things we try to point out is that when you're walking around a show, you have to make those judgments about, is this something that I have to buy right now, or would it be okay if I let it sit, and if I miss it on the flip flop, it's not a big deal?
Well, that's the thing. You hear a lot of influencers say things, and they like to make generalizations. And who's following most of these influencers? It's the new people. Well, they're just making these blanket statements that really don't apply to how a lot of us collect, especially us longtime collectors. Now, it's okay that, because honestly, I don't give a shit what those guys say, and you know the guys I'm talking about.
Yes.
I've even sat in a room with some of those guys.
You did great. You did great, by the way, and I introduced you as the get off my lawn guys. So,
but I'm scared Dr. Beckett doesn't ever want to see me again. But that's another point.
And he was perfectly fine with you. I've not heard one word about you.
But anyway, yeah, it's, the generalizations of that can be bad. Again, if you're looking for a Topps Chrome Fernando Tatis rookie, well, yeah, you buy it at one table and 3 tables down, it's probably, your PSA 10 is $100 less. But yeah, in the case of like what I'm buying or what a lot of you guys are buying, knowing how specific your personal collections are, John Jack Robinson PSA, for example, some of you other guys with your player collections, you just, that advice is completely bunk and completely bullshit, because you pass it up, you go back 5 minutes later, like Rich says, it's gone.
Right.
I'm done.
No. Yeah. We'll move on now to I think Bo was talking about his quarter boxes at his last show, and the fact that he bumped his numbers up. He went from what, like 6 to 16?
Yeah,
something like that. And I told him we could talk about it on here, and I think you said that the amount of work for the amount of, how to say, for no more than it was that you sold over what you did the last time, was it worth it? And I think I saw, is it this morning or yesterday, that you kind of changed your mind on that?
I have.
Is there a reason for that?
There is. So the last show, so the first show I did, I had, I think, 5 or 6 monster boxes of 25-cent cards. And over the next month, I just spent hours upon hours sleeving cards, sorting cards, and doing the 25-cent boxes.
Yep.
And I did increase sales, but it was, a very small percent based on tripling my inventory. And, I asked myself, was it worth it? Ken said, maybe. And because they weren't organized. They were only organized by sport. So the baseball boxes are here, football, basketball, non-sports, etc. But I did have people walk away because, do you have any Greg Maddux? Well, yeah, it's somewhere in here. Braves only. No
Cubs.
No Cubs. So they asked for those specific players, or are your Cardinals sorted? And I'm like, well, not really. It's just kind of, these are the baseball boxes. So Ken brought up maybe it was overwhelming. So maybe I should dial it back. And I considered doing that, and I thought about it. And I was going to do that for my next show, which is next Saturday here in Madison. I did a show a few weeks ago in Rockford, Illinois, and the guy had, the show promoter had a U shape, 3 tables that he would give me a pretty good discount on those 3 tables if I took them, because it was, it was pretty close to the show. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do the 3 tables, but I need to bring the inventory for the 3 tables. So I brought, all 16 of my boxes. But what I did, so in the meantime, what I had seen at the Wisconsin Dell show was one table of bargain boxes had 100 count boxes that you could fill for $20. So you get that discount. You get that bulk discount at 20 cents per card. And I offer bulk discounts, but some people like, hey, I can fill this and maybe I can squeeze 110 cards and get it for even less than 20 cents, which is, hey, I'm perfectly fine. If I can move that, let's do it. So I gathered up and I did it in Rockford for the first time. So I did a fill this box, $20. So it's written right on the top in big Sharpie, so people know they can fill this box. And they with penny sleeves, and when I did it in the Dells, I filled 3 boxes and I had exactly, I wouldn't be able to do it again. I had exactly 300 cards in the 3 boxes. There wasn't 100 cards in each box, but it all tallied up to 300 cards. I did really well at the Rockford show selling bulk like this. When I looked back at, because I record all the transactions, I don't know what cards sell, but every time somebody brings up, I've got 50 cards and I'll give them a discount, but I'll put 50 cards and this is what I charged them. So I have, I have that so I can look back and see. The first show in April when I had 5 boxes, I had a lot of smaller transactions. I had some people that just bought 4 cards for $1. I had some people who'd buy, 12 cards or 20 cards. And then when I increased my table space and did 16, I didn't have that, but I had a lot of bulk buyers. And I spent a lot of time. So I took what Ken said to heart, and I thought about it, and I was going to do it. But then what I saw with the fill the boxes, how can I expand on that and really take advantage? Because it really takes volume to make some money when you're selling 25-cent cards. So I decided to step it up a notch, and I'm going to do my 100 count boxes for 20. And then there's going to be basically a similar discount, 20 cents a card, a 200 count box, fill it for 40. But then when you start getting to the bigger boxes, you're going to see bigger discounts. I don't know. I must have been drinking coffee when I wrote that. So a 300 count box is $50. So that's like 17 cents a card. And if you can fill more than 300, hey, good, you got an even better deal. So I'm gonna bring all my boxes again, and I'm gonna expand it. I've been, the Bowman I'm opening, take a shot, Ken. The Bowman I'm opening, I'm putting some chrome in there, some rookies in there for 25 cents. So I've added to the inventory, and I'm gonna see how this takes off when I've increased the boxes specifically, instead of just having them behind the counter, behind the table, like, oh, hey, by the way, if you buy a bunch, I've got boxes for you. But now they can fill this box and you kind of feel like you're getting a good deal, and it's spelled out right there for you. This is what I'm going to spend. I know I'm going to spend it, at the least 20 cents a card or 15 cents a card, but maybe I can really squeeze them in and put them on top and, try to Tetris as many cards as I can inside this box to get the best bang for my buck. So I kind of went the opposite way. I was going to zig and I ended up zagging, and we'll see how it goes next week.
Well, I have
and now you don't have to count those cards too when they buy 300 cards, 400 cards.
Exactly.
And Ken, you've been through my discount boxes. You've been through my quarter boxes, so to speak, that really aren't quarter boxes. And I do it sort of in a mixed way, but I also put my price. There are 2 or 3 white pieces of paper Raymond printed out with the price by the sliding price scale. Per card. It goes down to maybe 1,000 at 10 cents each or something like that. But you have a sliding scale, so frankly, if I have 1,000 cards and somebody buys 1,100, they're probably going to end up being charged for 1,000 cards. Mm-hmm. But I think you're also right. When I have maybe 12, 13 monster boxes of quarter cards, it's overwhelming. It's hard. I mean, I get that. I want the people who are going to sit all day and play, and it's hard. Then you can engage some of them in conversation, some not. But you do that to. I do that. I did that when I had the synagogue show, but that was because I was doing so many hats. As I told you, if something disappeared or somebody did something, it's no big deal. But I like those boxes. Go ahead.
And I looked back at my own behavior. When I could fill a box for $20. I wasn't as picky, you know. I know that usually vendors are going to give me a bulk discount if I have a big stack, but kind of knowing in my head, well, hey, I already filled half this box. I might as well keep filling it because I'm going to pay $20. And I had a much looser, you know, I wasn't as tight with what, you know, sometimes when I'm just making a stack in the bargain boxes, I'll just pull cards that I kind of want, some that I know that I can flip for a couple bucks. And, you know, some I'll look at and it's like, well, I don't know if I want this, but if I'm filling a box, it's like, well, I've got to fill this box. I might as well take it. And then all of a sudden you fill the box and you see another card you want. And it just kind of encourages that behavior where you keep filling and somebody doesn't necessarily have to spend all day looking through the boxes if they just kind of start throwing in. Maybe they're like, I only want to spend $40, so here's a box, a $40 box I'm going to fill, and that's it. So I kind of looked inward how I behaved at that particular table, and in the hopes that maybe I can snag a couple people at my table that think the same way and behave the same way when it comes to pulling cards.
Well,
let me ask you a question on that. And I know you have a partner in the show and all that. Are you also technically paying for your tables?
I mean, not really, because you know, basically what we bring in, we just split in two, and so I mean, we're not paying for the tables. It just comes out of the top. So no, we're not paying for the tables.
So what that does is that also gives you more flexibility. And what I mean by that is you're not, you know, it's not like, well, you're already paying for the room or whatever, but you're getting the money back. But it's not like you're having to pay for the tables on top of everything else. The tables are kind of sort of free.
That's a great point you bring up, because if I went back, and I'll go back to Rockford, we're going to kind of have like a vendor exchange where we're going to promote each other. So when I go back to do his show, I'm not going to have 3 tables because I just didn't feel it was worth bringing 16 boxes and setting up on 3 tables. So that's a great point, because my behavior on this and how I'm setting up for my show, I don't have that overhead on, you know, my table cost, because we're bringing in money on promoting the show. So that's a great point, where if I were to set up, you know, when I set up at Rockford in August, their next show, you know, I'll probably do 2 tables, you know, maybe just 1, depending on, you know, I don't know, but you're exactly right. I won't, you know, go all out on, because I got to take you know, I'm driving an hour, you know, I'm spending X amount on 3 tables. Is it going to be worth, you know, my time with people digging through bargain boxes? Because it takes a lot it takes the right customers, and it takes, you know, people that want to buy in bulk to get back to that break-even point.
Yep. Well, you know, I told you, you're kind of wrong on your math. No, listen, because you said that like if they fill a 100 count box up, they get it for $20.
Yep.
And so you're saying they get it for 20 cents a card.
Yep.
Well, the way box prices are now, that's $1 box, so they're actually getting it for 19 cents a card.
That's true, but most of these boxes have been acquired in collections. So you know, these aren't boxes I'm going out and buying. Yeah, so.
But I mean, for them though, if you look at it that way,
it's added value. It's added value.
I'm also getting $1 box. I'm gonna go home. I'm taking these cards out. I put it where I want them, and I'm gonna use this box for something else.
And that's how I look at dollar boxes. When I like the dollar boxes with top loaders, because that's, even buying used in bulk, I'm still paying 10 cents a top loader. I'm getting the card for 90 cents because I'm going to have to pay 10 cents for a top loader at some point.
Right.
Well, I'm terrible that way, because I actually, because I didn't bring enough in. I could have, because I was across the street from my office, but I didn't bring today any boxes to put cards in. So I got a couple. The gentleman was nice enough. He had a couple 400 count boxes for me to use. But I gave him back all the semi-rigids. Some were written on, some weren't, or what people, or top loads or whatever you call them. But I gave them back because it would be easier to carry my cards that way.
Mhm.
So, but you're right. There are other people out there. You look at a deal and you say, "Hey, the supplies are now worth so much that they're getting a benefit." And like, for example, I sleeve every card in my quarter box.
Right.
Every card is sleeved. Well, with what sleeves are costing nowadays,
It's not a penny sleeve now. It's like a 2-cent sleeve.
it's a 2-cent sleeve. And if you're charging 10 cents for a card that's in a penny sleeve or a 2-cent sleeve, you've just maybe even surrendered your profit on the card.
Right. Yep. Well, we got about 40 minutes left or so, give or take. No, 25 minutes. One other thing I want to ask everyone is what at this point in your collection, what is your key interest in the hobby? As in, what are you more focused on right now than anything else? Like for me, it's the 72 set. I'm more focused on it and actually finishing it and the 2021 flagship sets. I got 2 that I've got to build this year for 2 grandbabies that are being born this year. That's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. But what are y'all focusing on?
Who wants to go out? I don't PC a lot. I'm one of those guys. But I wanted a PC more, so I took a page out of the baseball collectors. Well, let me finish, kid. I'm going from bad to a little bit better here. So
it wasn't me. You didn't see my mouth moving.
I'm taking a little bit of a page out of Mike Moynihan, the baseball collector. So what I've started to do, and I had some of this already, I had a little bit of a head start, is just for PC wise, I'm doing, Hall of Famers, rookies, graded Hall of Famer rookies. So that's going to be a PC thing I'm focusing on. I had a couple weeks where I went nuts going to the national. I've really that's another thing I've done right now is I've kind of pulled the reins on buying right now because I want to both pull that money together and bring it to the national with that, kind of two prongs in mind. Stuff for the Newman sports cards, the selling side, and that new PC adventure with the Hall of Fame graded rookies. So I'm kind of slow down my buying, ramping up to the national with those 2 goals in mind. So yeah, I'm going to be PCing more, but I used to PC a lot more stuff as a younger collector than I do now.
Okay.
So I've got 2 odd ones. One I'm trying to complete. There's a Magic set that's based on Norse mythology that I've really grown to like. So they don't use the exact names, but there's cards based on Thor and Loki and Odin, and I really grew to like the set. I have no idea how to lick to play the game, but it was only a 400 card set and it was available at retail, so it was a fun chase. I'm down to I think 3 cards now, and then I have the Ruth, I have the Bonds. I figured I'd do the top, however many home run hitters. Nice round number. I figured 30. It's just outside the top 500. And start knocking down some of those guys, which is why I picked up the Ted Williams. But as an aside to that, I also have like the single season home run record. So I have a McGuire relic. I have a few Sosa relics. We'll be picking up Roger Maris hopefully soonish. And then the rookie home run record. So I have an auto of Aaron Judge. I'll eventually pick up an auto of Pete Alonso, but I have an auto of Mark McGuire and the person whose record he broke when he was a rookie. whose name escapes me at the moment, player from the 30s.
Wally Berger. Wally Berger.
Thank you, Wally Berger.
Actually, he was, I believe, tied with Frank Robinson. I think they both hit 38.
Well, I mean, Robinson hit his after Berger, but
Wally Berger is a fascinating player. I mean, it's not that he's a borderline Hall of Famer, but fix a couple things in his career, and he could very easily be a Hall of Famer.
So I figured it would be easy enough to tack on those guys as well. So,
Anybody else?
I'm more like Mr. Newman. I really don't have a PC, so I don't really chase things for myself. I mean, the only time I'm going to use the expression PC, and I'm going to put air quotes, is there's some people from my high school and college that if I see them in bargain boxes or whatever, I will pull them. I mean, Steph and I sometimes battle over Gene Larkin because he went to my college and he's from the junk wax era. So I have a pretty nice Gene Larkin.
That's not why I want him. You know
what?
I said that's not the only reason why I'd like him. Sorry.
Well, yeah, just because he got the game-winning hit in the '91 World Series and ended the series. Yeah, but there's Frank Seminara, and there's two guys from my high school.
Spin that around the other way.
There's two guys from my high school who've played in the major leagues, Harrison Bader and Pedro Alvarez. In fact, when I was going through this guy's dollar bin today, I actually pulled like $3 or $4 Pedro Alvarez cards because I figured, okay, I'll just throw them in my box. So in a sense, I PC without really PC, but I don't do it as actively. I think doesn't one of the guys online here collect Mark Burley cards?
That's
Dan.
He's not on the screen right now. He's
wait. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Dan!
There's the Burley collector.
There's the Burley collector. Yeah, and I know, I remember he once I quoted him in a way. He sent a line in on a correction. He complained about Rob Virus's card, or no, it was a ComC card. If they'd lower the price on the card, I would then make an offer on it. So I love that line. But it's, Mark Burley is a borderline Hall of Famer. It's a very funky thing, and but the dealer has a right to ask anything he wants. And so when I collect, I don't really go chasing stuff, but if I do, I just pay your price because it's your card and your right to make whatever money.
Well, it comes down to sellers. Do sellers want to squeeze every last penny they can out of it and have it sit as a museum piece for 12 years, or do they price things competitively so that they can sell them? I can sign with its Triple Crown. I also can sign with Herman, but JT and Herman both price their things to move. I understand why they do that on consignment, but yeah, people that put up museum pieces, there's pieces I've seen of Andrew Shaw that have been listed literally for 7 freaking years. So, is your goal to sell the card and to make some money, or is your goal to just, oh, hey, I've got 450,000 items listed on eBay? Bunch of freaking ass clowns. Anyway, I'll move on.
That's the kin we love. Go at it, buddy.
I'll move on to your actual question of kind of what your focus is. And so I've talked about this both on Twitter. I think I've talked about it on YouTube. So I am oftentimes some of these newer guys, I will say the newer folks that are actual collectors, not the flip vesters, but the newer folks that are actual collectors. I am quite envious of their tight, focused collections. And I think that's something that they do somewhat out of necessity because you can't collect it all. However, I've been collecting without stop since 1987, back when we could collect it all. You could collect all the sets, and if you liked multiple sports like I did, you could conceivably collect all of the sets in all of the sports. I never stopped collecting, so I guess in a lot of ways I still have that mentality. I'm about to click over to a list. I'm not going to show you. I'm going to have to read it. Of my collecting focuses, and I'll read these off to you. Alek Manoah, Andrew Shaw, all Blackhawks and then numbered Canadians cards. Blackhawks cards, I have certain sets listed. Dale Earnhardt, all. baseball buybacks, James Bond autographs and relics, Indianapolis 500 postcards and trading cards, former WVU Mountaineers, T36 cards, T37 cards, T206 cards, T210 cards, Fort Worth related baseball, 1955 Topps All-American, player collections, Russ Davis, Chris Phoenix, Derek Whitmore, Charles Barkley, Bob Surra, Jason Williams, Jeremy Roenick, Dale Murphy, Will Clark, Jeremy Roenick, Frank Gatsky, David Carpenter, Herb Score, Lloyd Ruby, McElreath, and Steve Klein. So that's, because we could collect all that stuff back in the day, it's hard for me to focus. The good thing is that I'm not really I've just come to realize that I'm not really interested in modern sports. I don't care about anything happening now outside of, we still do like NHL in this household, and I tend to watch the IndyCar stuff. NASCAR is not what it was when I was a kid. Baseball is not what it was. Basketball, NFL, even college football was one of the last ones that I really followed. But now this transfer rule, it's killed it for me. I used to follow the off season of college football. I used to watch every Saturday from 8 a.m. until the last damn game went off on the West Coast when I was watching Fresno State play until 2 o'clock in the morning. Now I watch the WVU game and maybe the Auburn game, and that's it. Like, the transfer rule has just killed the sport for me. And it's just, there's various things in all these sports because, as Rich said, I'm the get off my lawn guy. So, I mean, at least I'm not trying to collect current stuff, or could you imagine how much longer that list would be? But, yeah, that's one thing I have a real problem with. But, I mean, I'm not buying much. What I am doing is kind of going back to what I said earlier. While I collect all these things, I'm not buying things, even if I don't have them, unless there's something scarce, something I don't see very often. Or in the case of this Dale Earnhardt autograph that I bought, something that was a good value, because most of the Dale Earnhardt autographs on eBay are overpriced. So, I'm just not buying a lot. I'm probably buying about as little as I've ever bought, honestly, and just focusing on those more scarce things, and then keeping some extra money on hand in case some of those T36 cards come up that I need. And that's just one way I've kind of changed what I'm doing to. It also helps with that downsizing and not making my collection too big and cumbersome for the next time that I move. Okay, I'm done.
Well, I've been buying a lot lately because the market has kind of dipped, and a lot of things that have been on my Cubs want list have decreased significantly in price. So I've been picking up things that have been on my want list. I picked up the Gleyber Torres first chrome auto with the Cubs, Chris Bryant's first chrome auto. I picked up with some birthday eBay gift card. I picked up this is not his first chrome, but it's Ed Howard from 2021 Bowman. And then I picked up, I love these Bowman Aflac High School All-America games. This is Ed Howard from 2019. I have the Javi Baez. Chris Bryant is on my want list that I'll probably pick off at some point. I'm kind of going on a spending freeze now, just in anticipation for the National, to see if I can pick up anything from my want list at the National next month. And then this came from Herman. This was actually on my want list. It's the 1982 Red Lobster set, Chicago Cubs. The very first Ryan Sandberg Cubs card is in here. This is still shrink wrapped and sealed, so I'm gonna leave it this way. I did have the partial set minus the Sandberg rookie that I found a couple years ago at a really good price. Herman sent me this last week or 2 weeks ago. So now I have the Sandberg, and when Herman asked earlier, he said, would you count that as one or as several? And I count this as, each card that's in there, even though it's left sealed. So I've just kind of been picking off things that are on my want list. I haven't published my want list since last year, and I've been able to pick off quite a few from that list. So going to have an all new top 10 at some point, and hopefully pick off a few more here at the National next month.
Okay. What, George or Dan, either one of y'all? I mean, we know you working on the Burleys, but I mean, You got anything else that you're kind of focused on outside of that, Dan?
Well, I in the past month or two, I've bought several of the 2021 Topps tributes and the Topps Tier 1 Mark Burley autographs. I think I have 5 of the Topps tribute. I think he has 6. I'm missing the old 10. And of the Tier 1, he has Tier 1 really, the Topps Tier 1 prime performers, they have for Burley, or at least I looked in the TCDD checklist. I thought they added something wrong. They have 2 different variations of autographs. One is numbered PPA MB, the other is numbered PPA MBU. It could be confusing. They're all numbered to 10 to 300 and to something else. So I'm still trying to acquire all those. But more recently, I've been just worrying about Burley and sleeving all of my Manko cards, my Japanese Manko cards. So basically,
hold on. Put that back.
For those that don't know, Gary Engel, he's the one that knows all about the Mankos. He has a checklist that Prestige Collectibles, Robert actually bought off of him. So if you want the checklist, you'll have to buy it off of Robert, but because he put a lot of time and effort into it. So basically, I have these sorted by the way they're listed in the Engel price. I don't want to say price guide, but the Engel Manko guide. So I have all of these in order, and obviously all these numbers. They have random numbers on the backs of these cards, and that's how he numbers them. So I have all the cards that I need labeled, and so I have some Manko rounds here in the front. I have some rounds.
Those are cool looking.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, these are all. Most of these are from 47, 48, and 49. So we have Manko rounds, then we come into the die cut cards.
Now those are cool.
Yeah, I really like these. As well.
Those are
I'm sorry.
What? So those are from like Korea?
No. These are all Japanese. Korea is very poor when it comes to cards. They don't have much variety. They don't have much in the history of cards.
Now that's a serious die cut.
Oh yeah. These are all named by all these cards are named by the backs, not the fronts. The set names. So all these sets have some different numbers. As you can see, these are all the same set. These pages are coming out of the binder. So all these are the same. Then you come to these. A lot of these are a little different and similar. I buy them as I see them, as someone else mentioned. So you can tell these are all from the same set, but I don't have them all.
How rare are those?
To be honest, I'm not sure how much was produced. I love collecting these and talking about them, but as far as the production numbers and how they were released, I'm not entirely sure.
So where are you?
So I know Gary and I know Robert Clevens,
yeah,
and all that, and they're huge in Japanese and Korean cards. Do you buy most of your cards from them, or do you find people around you that have the cards available?
Robert, sometimes I buy stuff from Robert, whether it's Korean or Japanese. Sometimes I buy from Japanese sellers. It's very hard to find older Korean cards from Koreans. It's very hard, and they'll mark up the prices. But usually I buy stuff from Japanese sellers in Japan, and I use various websites in Japan, and I sometimes have to use third-party proxy companies, or I have to use 2 of my friends that I have in Tokyo.
Okay, so do they do the do they translate for you, or about?
The names all need to be translated. But sometimes they're on eBay. But if they're oftentimes I'll use Papago, which is a translator. I don't use Google Translate. I'll use Papago, which is good for Asian language. But as far as the backs go, I usually know how to identify the sets. But when it comes to the players, I don't know a lot of these players from the 40s and 50s in Japan and 60s, other than like O and Nagashima and all these other ones. But I just love I buy these because I love the backs and I love the illustrations. It's just so cool. And
they're beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful art.
No, it is. It's amazing.
They're really beautiful pieces of art. And as I said, Gary's really cool. Gary's an interesting person. Gary used to live, I believe, either in Greece or an island off Greece, like, for a year at a time. Then he'd come back to America for a year. He's fascinating with some of the places he's lived in his life.
No, I have never personally. I've met Robert, obviously. I met him at the last convention in Chicago in 2019, and I actually met Dave McNeely, MPB Guard guy, who's also huge in the Japanese cards, and he actually does a good job of doing set reviews for Korean cards when I'm able to get him sets. I actually met him in Tokyo a couple years ago. But because you mentioned Gary, I'm surprised you haven't met him because he's usually at the National too. I think I've been to 2 nationals, and at that time, did I know about Gary? I'm not sure if I knew about Gary. I'm sure I knew about him in 2019, but before that, I don't know that I did.
Okay.
And I didn't know if he was going to be at the national. I ran into Robert, and I'm like, holy cow, Robert, because I had talked to Robert for many years.
Yeah.
And we made some trades and stuff, but I got to finally meet him. No. I love this.
Robert's a cool guy. I like them both. They're both really good people.
Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time, but
a lot of people don't know about this Korean and Japanese collections, and it's really cool to see them. Most people have never seen them before.
Yeah.
Whatchamacallit? Victor Starfin, who was Russian, he's arguably the best pitcher ever, and he's obviously a foreign player. He was.
And wasn't there something about him in World War II, if I remember correctly?
I believe so. I don't know the full story on him. I know that I'm drawing a blank. There's another guy that's huge in the Japanese cards who's wrote several books. You might know him already. I think his name is Robert.
Robert Whiting.
No. I do know. I know of him. Shame on me. I'm blanking on his name, but by the way, this is probably one young player back. I love these young player backs. They actually have a random number on the back, and then they have the player's name, and then there's a little cartoon character on all these. They're all different. So I just why I love this set so much.
Yeah. So Dan, what on those what you call a die cut?
Yeah.
What just on average, what would one of those cost?
From what I've noticed, the more popular players will cost more. As cheap as maybe $5 per card, and the die cuts maybe as much as 30 to 40 per. Like Beto, Oshita, those are the more common ones from the 40s that are the best players and cost more. But I would say anywhere from like $5 to $45, $50 for the die cuts.
Okay. So, Rich, does ComC ever see anything like that?
Yes. I usually let Charles identify those cards. I usually stay far away from any of that. At this point in my life, I'm trying to keep my life as simple as possible.
Okay.
Charles is better at his age, who's the head of ID, than I was when I was his age. So I let him do it. He's 20 years younger, and he's looked at more weird stuff than I have. And so we have non-sports stuff of that too that comes in. I know there is one set I can actually figure out. There were 2 sets issued in Japan for Enter the Dragon, the last Bruce Lee movie. So, I mean, there's all sorts of cool stuff that we have that's come in.
No, ComC does have, I forgot the seller's name, but there's a guy that has some cards on there, but they're way too expensive.
So Steph has found Nintendo Miko cards.
Oh, no, I have some stuff like I actually have that card, that Mario card.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I have some Ultraman. I have some Ultraman. There's lots of, I mean, as you guys probably know, Japan has a huge anime, manga, cartoon history.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of Mako cards like that.
Yeah. I've got a few dollars left in my ComC account. I think I'm gonna have to look one up.
Why don't we go into George and I'll look and see if I can find any of those non-sport Makos to show.
All right, George, what you got going on?
Man, I'm looking at cameras right now.
Real quick though, what was it? Was it the 54 Bowman? 52. What? There was a bonus set you was working on. Have you
55, right?
55?
Yep.
So-
I'm still like basically well, like I kind of said in that one video, these days I'm pretty much what I'm doing, honestly, the stuff that I have out, like I've got stuff that I bought from Topps that I'm waiting on, like all these different things. I'm pretty much not really buying or doing anything for the most part until everything that I have that is out is in, which is probably going to be around September or so before everything arrives.
Right.
And then probably in about September, I'll probably start buying again. And when I say buying, I mean outside of I bought some Bowman mega boxes and things like that. But in terms of just stuff that I collect, for the most part, I just haven't been buying. But yeah, I do collect the 55 Bowman set. And then basically my Cardinals players, that I collect, like the Yachty, Flaherty, Gibson, also like the more recent Arenado, Goldschmidt, and like that. I mean, for the most part, I generally collect players and team, but like I said, I just haven't been doing much recently because I'm just waiting on everything to get in, because I was getting to the point to where I was buying so much stuff and things were taking so long to get here that I was losing track of everything, and I was buying duplicates of things that I had already bought. And that was even like keeping track of it, like keeping like a list of it. But sometimes I would overlook stuff, right? And then I would forget that I bought it, and I'd overlook it on my list. And so yeah, I'm just like, everything that's out, let it come in. It's probably going to be around September or so before I've received everything that's out. And when that happens, then I'll get back into it again.
Yep.
Until then, I'll just keep going up mountains. Like I'm sitting here looking at cameras because I'm like looking for a camera to take with me when I'm hiking. That's like different from my big DSLR.
Right. That's
sorry, I'm my 12-year-old sense of humor just hit me.
My big DSLR.
Yep, exactly. My big DSLR.
Yeah, but I've kind of run into that with some of the stuff like on the 2021 Heritage or the short prints. I got to where I was overlapping and I was getting doubles and stuff. So what I started doing was if somebody told me they had a card that they were going to send me, I would take it off my want list on the trading card, but I wouldn't actually add it to the list. Just take it off the want list and leave it at that. That way, I don't acquire the same card twice. So I know what you're saying, because a lot of stuff, like I know you said you had some, which I know that it'll be a while before I get them. So I just took them off the list and went that way with it.
Well, you caught one break this year with the Heritage high numbers. The last few years, they've been loading the high numbers with almost all the stars and
rookies. Yep.
This year, it's more like the first couple years of Heritage, where your short prints are there. There may be a few better players sprinkled in, but for the most part, it's just a normal, everyday group of players.
And I was glad for that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I think we all caught a break. Anybody who really wants to collect that set caught a break this year in that, where, okay, you may not make as much money, but if you're a set collector, you're breathing a sigh of relief that the high numbers.
Because wouldn't like Acuña's rookie year, wasn't he a short print?
I'm not sure, but I know that it has happened where some of the players are short prints in their rookie years, or some of them are just tough. I mean, thankfully there's no Mike Trout rookie year Heritage card, but even his first two Heritage cards are way too expensive.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we've
All right, we're past 2 hours.
Yeah, we've done hit the 2 hour mark, so we're going to jump out of here, guys. I appreciate you coming in, and I look forward to.
And I'm glad you did. I got the high sign from my wife that the dogs need to go.
That it's time to go. Right.
It's time to go. Yes.
So we're gonna.
Hey, Rich, Robert Fitz is the guy I was thinking of.
Oh, he's a good guy. I like Robert. He's a good guy.
All right, sorry, Hermie.
No, you're good. You're good. But like I said, I appreciate y'all coming in, and y'all are welcome back. As you know, every time we have these, y'all are welcome back. I enjoy it and enjoy the conversation.
I can tell you I won't be here next month. It's the weekend of Kyle's July show.
Right.
So that is the third weekend of the month. So I can tell you that there's at least one spot available, and if somebody wants to be a louder mouth than me, go for it.
Well, it's like I say, it's appreciated. If you can come, that's fine. If you can't, I understand.
But I'm just telling everybody, there's a spot open. Right. I guarantee you, there's a spot open.
Well, we've got 10, so anybody and everybody. But all right, guys, I appreciate it, and those that you watched, glad you watched, and we'll be back next month, the third Saturday of the month.
That's July 17th.
17th. Okay, so. Everybody take care, and guys, I look forward to the after hours. See you later.